Hey guys. Awesome. I'm not going to talk about AI agents. I'm actually going to talk about the brain that powers that, which is the AI models. And OpenLedger is an AI blockchain that enables people to contribute data and get rewarded for building better and specialized models. We've been in the space for quite some time. We started about a decade back, more as a blockchain, machine learning, and R&D company, focused towards enabling enterprises automate their operations using machine learning, and also bring in blockchain to verify that. We've worked with larger enterprises. This includes Walmart, Sony, Viacom, and many more brands as well. OpenLedger was a product that was built on that. And what we did was to work with enterprises, enable them to have better automations. We thought, why don't we bring this to the masses, to the end consumers, because the ChatGPT moment was happening, and we knew that generative AI is going to be big, more than what machine learning was. That led us to build our infrastructure on three major problems that is there. Most of AI models today that you see is very generalized, right? Let's take a look at OpenAI or Llama or any other model that you see. They're built on internet data, right? They all consume internet data. It's very generic, and it's built for providing very generic answers. But technology starts to be generic, like how Google search was, where you can have a world search, but then it goes much more specialized, where you use LinkedIn, you use e-commerce websites to order stuff and like that. Technology becomes much more specialized once you implement real-world use cases. So very similarly for AI, if you want to implement real-world use cases, if you want to automate consumer apps, you need models to be much more specialized than what they are today. Another thing with models is that if you're going to make them as a public good and have it accessible for every other human being and provide them with the super intelligence, then you need to make sure these models are not centralized, right? I'm not here to talk about centralized is good or decentralized is centralized bad and decentralized good, but centralized just bogs down the innovation that is potentially about to happen. Another thing that is there is all of these models that we see today are black boxes, right? You don't know how these models work. You don't know what kind of data goes in. And even if you know the data that goes in, you don't know how it's basically understanding, how it gets the context, and what's the influence of a data that has on a model's output. These are three major problems that is there on the AI space, apart from various other things that is there. And we wanted to concentrate on this and build a solution around that. And that's how we started building our product. The first thing that we solve is to build an end-to-end framework so people can build specialized AI models on us. What does it mean? It's a platform that lets you go ahead and collect data sets, fine-tune, and post-train AI models on top of us using a no-code platform, and then have these models available for any agents or users to access. And then we use attribution to enable to see how data is influencing in a model and have that be as a reward mechanism that goes back to the data providers. And the third piece is a blockchain, right? We enable people to build data-based models, which are focused on specific data sets. We enable people to get rewarded, but all of this has to happen over a verifiable system, right? They should trust the code, not trust RAM. So they need to be able to have users across the globe contributing data and build models, and knowing that they can still have ownership to their model, knowing that they're going to get paid for it. So that meant that we need to build an immutable record where they can all see that on-chain. They could see that the data ownership is on-chain. They could see that data is being built on the blockchain, and they could see that models are using them. They could also see how much they're going to get paid if the data was useful in a model. And that is what led us to build our platform. And if we compare that to other centralized players out there, which provide a very similar solutions, most of them do not enable you to get monetized. Kaggle does it, but it's not so useful. There are other platforms out there where, like Hugging Face and all that, where most of these platforms don't let you own your data. They don't have any kind of verification for you to review whether your data is owned by you or whether it went into a model. They also don't give you access to any kind of verifiability, right? Of course, these are centralized platforms. And we started focusing on building as an architecture around the application layer and the blockchain layer. There is more to the application, which I will show you later on. But there are two parts to us. One is a traditional application on which you can collect data and build models. And then there is the blockchain layer, which relays whatever happens on the application layer to a blockchain so that it's verifiable. You can check out anytime. There are 3 different products. The first one is the data nets, where, as I told you, if someone wants to build a model as how humans behave, right? We all have a generic knowledge of the world when we do graduation, and like we specialize in each subject that we're interested in. Very similarly, models also need to be specialized. If they need to be specialized, they need to be fed with knowledge, and the knowledge comes from data, right? And as a user, if you want to build a specialized model on OpenLedger, you simply start by collecting data sets on top of us or bringing your own data sets. If you're starting a data net, you could go ahead, basically pull up a contract and have a bounty for users to contribute data sets. Let's take an example. If you want to build a model for Solidity, Cursor, which is one of the most used code generation model, does not understand Solidity really well, right? So assuming a developer wants to build a Solidity model on top of OpenLedger, they can go ahead and put up a contract saying that these are the kind of code descriptions I want, these are the documentations I would want, and then start a bounty. Users can go ahead across the globe, contribute data sets, Solidity data sets. This could be code, documentations, it could be code descriptions that can be contributed. All of that gets filled on to OpenLedger's datanet as a data repository. Once enough data is collected, the model builder goes ahead and uses our model factory, which is a no-code fine-tuning platform, which lets you bring in the data that you collected, fine-tune these models, basically superimpose this data into the model and make this model much more specialized. What they do over here is basically use any open source large language model. Think of it to be like Mistral, Llama, or any open source models. Add more context to it, add more data sets to it, fine-tune them, post-train them with those data sets, and make them specialize in one particular subject. Once these models are built on top of OpenLedger, you can have them be an iterative process. You can give feedback, you can have the community participate. Based on that, you can start building these models, fine-tuning them again and again until they make into a perfect model that works perfectly. Once you have the model available, you can host it on OpenLedger's marketplace. It's called Open Models, where all the models that are fine-tuned and trained on OpenLedger are available. And OpenChat lets users chat to this model, like how you would use Perplexity or ChatGPT. You can go ahead and choose the model that you want to access to, ask questions to it, query it, infer with that model, and then you can have API endpoints be accessed by apps, agents, or we also provide like SDKs, which can be integrated to various applications that you're building. So you can basically infer using those APIs as well. So as an end user, you can access using chat. As a developer, you can access them using APIs and SDKs, and you can start inferring on these models. As these models get inferred, as this model makes revenue, we figure out on every inference which data is causing that inference to happen, and then we attribute back to the data provider. The data provider is what made the model to be specialized. Until then, it was a generic model. So we believe the data providers have to be rewarded as part of the purpose. And we make sure that happens in the most verifiable way and the most accurate way as possible. So we use attribution to figure out how a data impacts on a model as well. We have people building on us right now using our tech in our testnet. And these are teams that reached out to us and wanted to build models. This includes Ambios, which is a DeepIn-based project building on Solana. They're building an air quality model. We have a team, which is the next Google DeepMind team, which is building a model around internet verticalized data set. We have a team which is building a model specific to Web3-based knowledge, enabling better agents to use them. I think Nia just spoke about DeFi agents, right? This is a model that powers these DeFi agents to be much better than existing model that is there. We have a couple more use cases that are being built. We work with a lot of enterprises as well. We work with Trust Wallet. We work with one of the largest e-commerce companies out there. We're building a customer support model for them. We work with Dubai Tax Authority, building an AI model to enable them to provide solutions around taxations. So we have enterprises that we work with to build them specialized models. We work with community. We work with developers to enable them to build these AI models on top of us. We also have ecosystems building on top of OpenLedger to increase the bandwidth of what can be done on top of us. So an AI stack not stop with models, right? It goes on to agents as well. agents need to use these models for them to be useful. And that's one of the frameworks that are being built, which enables agents to access our platform through APIs and SDK. So basically, they can build apps and agents with that. We also have a team which is, sorry, I ignored it. So you also have a team which is building a protocol that will enable people to have like a stable coin to be used within our network for attribution and rewards. Apart from using open tokens, the stable coin will be used for micropayments to reward data contributors. That will go live on top of OpenLedger. And there's a team that is building that. The last piece is there's a DEX tool that is being built on top of OpenLedger where you can tokenize the models that are being built on us. Think of this to be a much more responsible version of Hum.Fun, where models that actually make revenue can be tokenized and be given access to the community to be part of that as well. So these are various ecosystems that are being built on top of OpenLedger, apart from the models that are being built. We've been building over the last 2 years. We are in testnet currently. We have about 1 million users who've contributed datasets to us, close to about 100,000 users who are participating in our testnet in building AI models. And we're backed by a couple of institutions in the space, very well known, like Pollution Capital, Borderless, and many more. And we're going mainnet soon, and we'll be live and permissionless and open for anyone to access our platform. And probably it will happen within this month. And we'd love to have you guys explore OpenLedger. You can check out our Twitter and website as well. And I'll be around. You can hit me up if you have any questions. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.